Messi won't return to Barca today. Martinez boost for Arsenal. Villa agree Grealish replacement. Chelsea press on in Koundé deal and a transfer roundup all coming up in the next few minutes. As I'm your host, Matt Froelich, you are the One Footballers, and this is the Daily News. So first up, and today is the day where loads of players return from their holidays. I say lots of players because all the ones that are involved in the Euros and the Copa America were given an extended break, and actually a well-deserved break after playing so much football in the last 12 months or so. But now, after their holidays, they are expected to return to their clubs today, so we could have loads more news in the future with the likes of Harry Kane. But the biggest news is that Lionel Messi reportedly, according to some reports coming out of Spain, especially from Mundo Deportivo, will not be returning to Barcelona training today. The exact reason for this isn't exactly given, but with his contract not yet signed, sealed and delivered, he's technically not a Barcelona player. I mean, I'm sure if he showed up at the door to the training ground, they'd still let him in and he could still train with the team. But for whatever reason, whether it's contractual or not, it looks as though he will be staying away until he is officially licensed as a Barcelona and La Liga player. Now, this is going to cost quite a lot of money because Barcelona have to reduce their salary cap and they only have 13 days to do so before the La Liga registration window closes before the first game of the season. Of course, if the deadline is not met, Lionel Messi probably won't be moving anywhere else. He'll just have to sit on the sideline for the next few months. He may not even come into training, although I'm sure he will. He'll basically just have to wait for a competitive fixture until January when the squad registration opens again. This has happened before though at Barcelona. Remember a few years ago, I think they signed Arda Turan, who was in the middle of a ban or something similar to that, where he couldn't play for the first 6 months of his Barcelona career after his move from Atletico and then ended up making his debut in January. The same thing could happen with Messi, and the thought of Barcelona without Messi in the first place is pretty ridiculous, but the thought of him just sat on the sideline watching is even crazier. Anyway, the one piece of good news is that he has verbally agreed to sign a new 2-year deal with Barcelona, so it doesn't look like he'll be going anywhere else for the minute. Moving on though, and to Arsenal, who have been handed a bit of a transfer boost in their chase of Lautaro Martinez. Now, Inter Milan don't really want to sell their star striker, but having said that, they do need to make a little bit of money and a little bit of profit in this transfer window, hence why they've already got rid of Achraf Hakimi, and they're looking to bring in a replacement in the form of Hector Bellerin, only on loan. So when it comes to Lautaro Martinez, if they go and sell him, they'll keep a bit of money for themselves, and they've already identified a replacement. This is where the transfer boost comes for Arsenal, because when the team's already identified a replacement, it means they may know just in the back of their head they might end up selling a player, and that replacement comes in the form of Dusan Vlahovic. Now, the Fiorentina youngster has had a brilliant season, scoring quite a hatful of goals, and so much so that he's attracted some interest from around the rest of Europe. Obviously, they're going to have to spend a bit of money to get him in, but when you take into account the amount they'll probably make from selling Lautaro Martinez, they'll still have a bit of profit left over anyway. As to whether or not he will move to Arsenal, that's a completely different decision altogether. There were reports that he rejected the club over the weekend, and now Atletico Madrid are also set to be interested in the striker that Barcelona were chasing for loads of millions last summer. Of course, as we just discussed with Lionel Messi and the financial worries of Barcelona, they're not going to be making a big signing like Lautaro Martinez this summer, and I don't see why Atletico Madrid would either. Suarez was brilliant for them last season. João Felix will hopefully come into his own in the attacking areas, and they won the La Liga title. I'm not so sure they need Martinez, or can they guarantee him the amount of game time that he would like. After all of this, in my personal opinion, I think he's going to be staying at Inter Milan. I'm not so sure that either Arsenal or Atletico are going to pay the crazy fee that they want, and I don't really think that Inter Milan will want to sell him. If they really do need some money, there's probably a few others they can get rid of first before breaking up the Martinez-Lukaku partnership up front. Moving on though, and to Jack Grealish's imminent departure from Aston Villa. We should have some more news in the next couple of days over his £100 million deal to Manchester City, but the good news is for Aston Villa, they've already found their replacement. Okay, he's not really a like-for-like swap for Jack Grealish, but Leon Bailey is one hell of a winger. He's been linked with a move to the Premier League so much over the last few seasons. It's good for the Jamaican to finally get this deal over the line. Leverkusen are getting between 30 to 35 million euros in return, and Aston Villa are getting a brilliant player. He's very quick, very nimble, has brilliant dribbling ability, and has got one hell of a shot and a free kick on him as well. I've no doubt that he is made for the Premier League, and I really think he's going to be a great signing for Villa. Like I mentioned before, it's not a like-for-like swap. They are losing Grealish, whose quality. They are losing their captain, but 100 million to 35 million, they're making quick maths, 65 million profit. That's not so bad for Aston Villa, especially as they've spent quite a bit of money in the last few summers as well. Leon Bailey, I think, is going to be a great signing, so look out for him this season. Moving on though, and to the latest in the Chelsea deal for Jules Koundé. They're still talking with the club, but apparently they've hit a bit of a snag as Kurt Zouma does not want to move to Sevilla. Having said that, it still looks like Chelsea might try and go ahead with a deal by upping their original offer. Sevilla are holding out for quite a lot, but Zouma, on the other hand, could be heading to East London. We spoke the other day in the Daily News about how he could be moving to West Ham, but there's a bit of a difference in valuation. The Hammers are only willing to go up to 20 million, where Chelsea want to be paid 25. This is where it gets a little bit confusing, but like I mentioned, the difference is that Chelsea are still going to press ahead with the Koundé deal because Sevilla now have a replacement lined up in the form of Tottenham's Davinson Sanchez. It's a bit of a confusing centre-back merry-go-round, but you'd like to think that if Spurs sign Romero, which they've been linked with in the last few days from Atalanta, Sanchez will then be able to go to Sevilla, and then they wouldn't have so much problem with letting Koundé go to Chelsea, who then would accept maybe a little bit less money for Kurt Zouma to get off their books and go to West Ham. It's all very confusing. It's all going to unfold in the next few weeks, and of course, make sure you stay up to date with everything on the OneFootball app. Next up, and a quick run-up of the rest of the day's news and transfer news that you might have missed. In the United States of America beat Mexico 1-0 to win their 7th Gold Cup title. Elsewhere, and apparently Kieran Trippier is pushing for a move back to the Premier League, this time with Manchester United. New Everton boss Rafa Benitez has said that James Rodriguez is not in his plans and he can leave the club. And lastly but not least, Thomas Partey picked up an ankle injury this weekend in a game against Chelsea. And this leads me to the ultimate question: is why on earth are Arsenal, Tottenham and Chelsea playing in a friendly competition against each other less than 2 weeks before the season starts? Those three hate each other. Injuries are bound to happen regardless of whether it's a friendly or not. So make sure you check out everything else, and until next time, I will see you guys later.